Escort from Pyongyang.
A woman flying a fighter jet in North Korea. Not just any jet. She was one of Kim Jong-un's personal escort pilots. Hard to imagine. But 28-year-old Yoon Chae-young did exactly that for 3 years. Kim Jong-un handpicked her himself, called her the warrior of Baekdu bloodline. Then one day, in September 2024, mid-formation over Wonsan, she yanked the stick south. 2 interceptors, 2 heat-seeking missiles, dozens of anti-aircraft rounds. She dropped to 100 meters, so low the treetops scraped the fuselage, and dodged every one. When her wheels touched down at Incheon International Airport, she had 5 minutes of fuel left. 11 minutes separated life from death. So why did Kim Jong-un's prized female escort pilot throw everything away on an impossible gamble? This is her story.
Please subscribe and like before we start. Your click spreads these stories worldwide, giving hope to 25 million people still living without freedom.
My name is Yoon Chae-young, Major, Korean People's Army Air Force. I'm 28 as of 2024, born in Cheongjin, North Hamgyong Province. I was stationed at Sunan Air Base in Pyongyang. My job was to fly aerial escort for Supreme Commander Kim Jong-un. I flew a MiG-29, the only female fighter pilot in North Korea's entire Air Force. Kim Jong-un selected me personally. Said I'd be the warrior who protects the Baekdu bloodline. Everyone around me was envious. They called it the highest honor guarding the supreme leader's sky. But let me tell you that so-called honor was terrifying. I learned that the hard way. On September 21, 2024, at 10:36 a.m., during a formation flight over Wonsan, I pulled the stick south. The morning was clear. Inside the hangar at Sunan Air Base, the air stank of jet fuel and metal. Ground crews were finishing their final checks. The mission was simple: escort Kim Jong-un's inspection visit to Wonsan with an overhead patrol. Flight leader Colonel Ri called me over. "Major Yoon, weather looks good today." "Yes, sir. Same as always." No one suspected a thing. No one knew this would be my last flight. Well, I did. The night before, standing in front of the mirror, I'd whispered to myself, "Chae-young, there's no coming back." Accept it. At exactly 1000 a.m., we took off. The force shoved me back into the seat and the sky opened wide. Pyongyang shrank below. The Taedong River wound like a silver ribbon through a grid of gray buildings. Somewhere down there, my mother and father were going about their day with no idea what their daughter was about to do. My chest ached. The formation was smooth. Aircraft 1 Colonel Ri, Aircraft 2 Major Kong, Aircraft 3 me. A triangle heading for Wonsan. Altitude 10,000 feet, speed about 435 miles per hour. The sky outside was impossibly blue. This is the last time I'll fly over this land. Born and raised here, and now I'm leaving as a traitor. At 10:30, we reached Wonsan airspace. The East Sea stretched below, and I could see Kalma Beach, Kim Jong-un's favorite resort. Begin patrol. All aircraft maintain assigned altitude. The flight leader's order crackled through. Copy. I answered, and started counting in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, the formation would start its return turn. I had to move before then. My heart was about to burst through my ribs. My palms were slick with sweat. My fingers had gone white around the stick. Inside my helmet, all I could hear was my own ragged breathing. "Brother, I'm going first. The road you couldn't finish, I'll finish for you." I whispered it silently, then wrenched the stick hard. "Aircraft 3, you've deviated from course. Return immediately." Colonel Ri's panicked voice punched through the radio. I didn't answer. I banked further south, toward the West Sea. "I'm sorry, Colonel Ri." The apology stayed in my head. I switched off the radio. Now it was just me. Me, this jet, and the sky pointing south. The radar warning tone screamed to life. North Korea's air defense network had picked up my deviation. Every warning light in the cockpit flashed red. The instrument panel went haywire. But it was already too late to stop me. I dropped altitude and went ultra low. 1,000 feet, 600, 300. I skimmed the ridgelines. The vibration of treetops brushing the belly of the jet traveled up through the stick. Behind me, engine roar. The mirror showed 2 MiG-29s punching down through the clouds. Interceptors. Target acquired. Major Yoon, return immediately. Major Kong, my classmate. We trained together, ate together, and now he was the enemy chasing me. Final warning. You have 30 seconds to comply or we will fire. He meant it. Orders are orders. Boom, boom, boom. Anti-aircraft fire from below. Black bursts of shrapnel erupted around my jet. One round clipped my left wingtip. The aircraft shuddered hard. Then missile launched. Kang's voice. I glanced back. A white smoke trail. A heat seeker, locked on my engine. I hammered the flare button. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Decoys burst from the tail. Simultaneously, I threw the jet into a hard brake turn. The G-force slammed me sideways. The harness dug into my shoulders like a blade. Consciousness flickered at the edges, but I held on. Don't die. Not here. Not now. The missile took the bait and detonated somewhere behind me. But the shockwave rattled the airframe like a tin can. Another one. The surface-to-air missile warning tone shrieked. No flares left. No more tricks. Split-second decision, go lower. Use the terrain. I pulled down to 300 feet right above the ridgeline. Branches scraped the fuselage. The missile slammed into the mountainside and exploded in a ball of fire. Alive. Still alive. The DMZ fence line appeared ahead. Cross that line and I live. The fuel warning light was blinking. No time. I pushed the nose south with everything I had. The moment I crossed the wire, the interceptors behind me broke off. They couldn't follow past that line. Why did I risk my life to fly this far? It started in the spring of 2023. With the last words my brother ever said to me. The second I crossed the DMZ, a new kind of tension took hold. South Korean airspace, but I couldn't relax. How would the ROK military respond? Would they see me as hostile and shoot? My hands shook, but I dialed to the civilian control frequency. 123.7 MHz. A number I'd repeated to myself hundreds of times over the past few days. I keyed the mic. This is Major Yoon Chae-young, Korean People's Army Air Force. I am requesting asylum. My voice came out hoarse. Barely audible, but desperate. Silence. Those few seconds stretched into eternity. What if they refuse? What if they send me back? Every fear imaginable flooded my mind. Then Major Yoon Chae-young confirmed. Welcome. Please follow us. We will guide you to Incheon International Airport. A warm voice. A South Korean pilot. He called me Major. Not traitor. Not defector. Major. My throat closed up. A deep engine sound approached from behind. A low, resonant hum, nothing like the rough growl of a North Korean jet. Two gray fighters pulled up on either side, flying tight formation. Republic of Korea Air Force F-15Ks. The Taeguk roundel on their wings caught the sunlight. I'm seeing that symbol up close. The pilot on my right gave me a thumbs up and nodded. Encouragement. For the first time, I let out a long, shaking breath. I actually made it. The two F-15Ks flanked me like a mother bird shielding her young. Through the canopy, the West Sea sparkled below. Waves glittered in the sun. The same ocean, but somehow it looked bluer than it ever had from the north. Soon, land appeared. The waters off Incheon, Yeongjong Island. High rises packed together. Cars flowing in neat lines on the roads. Ships lined up in the harbor. A completely different world. The words left my mouth before I knew it. Incheon Airport materialized ahead. Massive runways. Dozens of airliners. Fire trucks and ambulances already waiting. Armed soldiers lining both sides of the tarmac. The fuel warning light glared red. It was impossibly close. 5 minutes later and I'd have gone into the West Sea. Slowly, I lined up with the runway and brought her down. 500 feet. 400. 300. The hydraulics were almost gone. The stick felt like it weighed 100 pounds. I gripped it with everything I had. Thud. The wheels hit the runway. In that jolt, my new life began. The engine spooled down, that deep hum fading, then silence. A strange peace. But it didn't last. Sirens wailed. Black vehicles screeched up. Every gun barrel pointed at my cockpit. I opened the canopy. A hiss of pressurized air, and then Incheon's air on my face. A cool September breeze. It felt like the wind of freedom. Climbing down the ladder, my legs were jelly. The moment my feet touched the ground, the rough texture of asphalt pressed through my boots. This is free soil. I dropped to my knees. I am Major Yoon Chae-young, Korean People's Army Air Force. I request asylum in the Republic of Korea. I pulled off my helmet. Sweat-soaked hair spilled over my shoulders. The soldiers around me went quiet. They exchanged glances, surprised to find a woman in the cockpit. Are you hurt? An officer lowered his weapon and asked. That question hit me like a fist. In North Korea, they'd have said, you filthy traitor. Here, they asked if I was safe. Paramedics rushed over. A blanket draped over my shoulders. Warm. A softness I'd never felt in the north. Would you like some water? Someone handed me a plastic bottle. I took it in both hands and drank it all. Cold water sliding down my throat, cooling my entire body. Only then did I realize I hadn't even opened my mouth properly during the entire flight. This is the Republic of Korea. You're safe now. The moment the officer said those words, every ounce of strength drained out of me. My legs gave way and I sank to the ground. Yes, I'm fine. I can't believe it. That I'm actually alive. The words came out between sobs. What does it feel like to set foot on free soil? Joy wasn't the first thing. Fear came first. Not relief, guilt. Not the comfort of survival, but the crushing weight of having left my parents behind. Before I climbed into the black van, I looked back one last time. My MiG-29 glinted in the sunlight. Goodbye, MiG-29. You carried me to freedom. A silent farewell. In the van, I closed my eyes. My brother's face appeared. Spring 2023. The last time he called. The last thing he said. Chae-young, I'm about to do something big. That was it. Brother, I made it. I'm where you were trying to go. That story, I'll tell it in order. The van drove for about 30 minutes and stopped in front of a building on the outskirts of Seoul. Looked ordinary enough from outside, but armed guards at the entrance told a different story. Right this way, Major Yoon. A young woman led me inside. Major. Again. Not traitor. Respect. That small gesture struck deep. Walking down the corridor, I caught my reflection in a window. Sweat-matted hair, ashen face, bloodshot eyes, a total wreck. The interview room door creaked open. Brighter than I expected. A large window let in sunlight. A potted plant on the sill, green and alive. Nothing like a North Korean interrogation room, those were dark, damp basements. This felt more like a counselor's office. A warm cup of tea sat on the table. The chair was cushioned. Please, have a seat. A woman in her mid-40s gestured to the chair. My name is Park Jung-hee. I'll be your case officer from today. Take your time. There's no rush. Take your time. In North Korea, it would have been talk. Now, traitor. Here, drink this first. It's warm. She handed me a paper cup. I cradled it and took a sip. Sweet jujube tea spread across my tongue. A flavor I'd never tasted in the North. It's good, I murmured without thinking. The officer smiled. A real smile. Not forced, genuine. Could you start with your name and rank? Yoon Chae-young, Major in the Korean People's Army Air Force. Born in Cheongjin, North Hamgyong Province. She wrote steadily, no pressure. And your family? My father, Yoon Sang-chul, is an Air Force Major General. My mother, Kim Ok-bun, graduated from the Pyongyang University of Music. And I had a brother. She looked up at the word had. My brother, Yoon Tae-jun, attempted to defect in 2023. No word since. Officially, they called it a flight accident. But I know the truth. He was shot down. My voice cracked. Every time I talked about my brother, the tears came. The officer set her pen down and looked at me. Not with pity, with understanding. So you defected to follow your brother? No, not only because of him. I hesitated, then spoke. It was because of Kim Jong-un. Her expression hardened. Can you elaborate? In 2021, Kim Jong-un personally selected me. Called me the warrior who'd protect the Baekdu bloodline. At first, I believed it was an honor. But this past summer, things changed. He started showing a different kind of interest in me. What kind of interest? Private summons after flights. Let's have tea, he'd say. At first I thought it was encouragement. It wasn't. One day he called me to his Wonsan villa. Said there was a special mission. I refused. The next day, my father was demoted. My mother was summoned by the Boibu, the secret police. My fists clenched. It was coercion. Plain and simple. Refuse, and my family pays the price. That must have been incredibly difficult. That single sentence from the officer broke the dam. Everything I'd been holding back poured out. Do you have any personal belongings you brought with you? I reached into the inner pocket of my flight suit. A small wallet. Old leather. I placed it on the table. This is all I have. She opened it carefully. 2 photographs inside. One was our family portrait from Lunar New Year 2020. My father, my mother, my brother, and me. All 4 of us smiling. We didn't know then. Didn't know it would be the last family photo we'd ever take. I traced my brother's face with my fingertip. Brother, I'm free now, too. The other was a black and white photo of my mother as a young woman. Her graduation day at the Pyongyang University of Music, I was told. She held a violin and beamed at the camera. She'd dreamed of being a musician. After marriage, she gave that up. In North Korea, a woman having dreams was a luxury. 2 photographs in a worn leather wallet. For some people, that's worth more than life itself. The faces of a family you may never see again, that's everything. That was all I brought out of North Korea. The interview went on for nearly 3 hours. Kim Jong-un's movements, his security apparatus, the Air Force structure, key inner circle figures. I laid out everything I knew. Some questions were hard to answer, but the officer never pushed. If it's too much, we can come back to it later. That consideration meant everything. What happened to you wasn't your fault. You chose to survive. She gently took my hand. A warm hand. Those words cracked me wide open. Fear, guilt, longing, relief, everything crashed down at once. I wept for a long time. Through the window, the sun was setting. Building lights flickered on across the city, one by one. So different from Pyongyang's dark nights. My first sunset in a free country. Mother, I survived, but I'll think of you every single day. That night, they took me to a nearby safe house. A small room, but clean and warm. Lying on the bed, staring at the ceiling, the past 28 years scrolled by like a film reel. Cheongjin, Pyongyang, my whole life. Eyes closed, my hometown appeared. Cheongjin, North Hamgyong Province. A city by the East Sea. I loved that city. Our house sat on a hill in the city center. With my father being an Air Force Major General, we had it better than most. A 2-story house with a yard. My mother planted flowers. In spring, golden forsythia bloomed. Summer brought moss roses in every color. Autumn swayed with cosmos. You know that feeling, a home with a flower garden. My mother watering the plants while I did my homework nearby. Those days were peaceful, truly peaceful. My father was strict but gentle. On weekends, he'd take my brother and me to the beach. The waves off Cheongjin were rough, but the water was clear. I remember collecting shells. Chae-young, look how pretty this one is. My brother would pick one up and press it into my palm. We didn't know then. Didn't know those were the last peaceful days we'd have. Evenings, the whole family gathered at the table. My mother's cooking was modest but warm. Corn rice, doenjang soup, kimchi, and wild greens. Rations were still coming through back then, so we got by. My father would talk about his day. My mother would share neighborhood news. My brother told school stories. I just listened quietly. None of us realized how precious that ordinary dinner table was. Holidays were even more special. For Chuseok Korean Harvest Festival, my mother made songpyeon, half-moon rice cakes. Chae-young, come help me shape them. I followed her hands, clumsy and crooked. She just laughed and praised me anyway. Our Chae-young has such talented hands. Steam rising from fresh songpyeon, the whole family laughing together, a day I can never return to. In winter, we made kimjang, the massive annual kimchi preparation. My mother and the neighborhood women gathered in the yard, salting cabbage and mixing spice paste. Freezing wind, numb fingers, but everyone laughed through it. The cabbage is really good this year, a neighbor would say. My mother would smile. I know we won't have to worry about kimchi this winter. That's seen families making kimchi together in the yard. It's the same in the south. People are people, north or south. Life was no different. My brother was 2 years older. Smart and brave from the start. One day he asked me, Chae-young, what do you want to be when you grow up? A pilot, like Dad. He smiled and ruffled my hair. Yeah, you'd be great at it. Maybe that encouragement carried me all the way here. I must have been in middle school. My brother turned serious one afternoon. Chae-young, don't you think something's wrong with this country? What are you talking about? Keep your voice down. But he kept going. What they teach at school and what we actually see, it doesn't match. Rations keep shrinking. People are getting thinner. But the news just says everything's glorious. I couldn't respond. I sensed something was off, but I didn't want to admit it. In 2018, I entered the Air Force Academy. My father's connections helped, but my grades were solid too. Up at 5 for morning runs. Training and study all day. Exhausting, but I loved it. Every day brought me closer to flying. In 2021, I graduated at the top of my class. Kim Jong-un attended in person and pointed me out. This warrior will be the pride of the Baekdu bloodline. Everyone applauded. I felt honored. I had no idea how naive I was. I was assigned to Pyongyang Kim Jong-un's Escort Squadron. Pyongyang was nothing like Cheongjin. Taller buildings, fancier clothes, but the faces were empty. Everyone walked in a state of permanent tension, as if someone were always watching. Starting in the fall of 2022, rations began disappearing. Rice that used to come once a month became once every 2 months, then stopped entirely. If even an Air Force pilot was hungry, imagine what ordinary citizens endured. At the Jongmadang, the informal markets, you could see people wasting away. Children on the street with their hands out. The elderly sitting motionless, too weak to stand. In the spring of 2023, my brother called. Chae-young, I'm about to do something big. What are you talking about? Don't do anything dangerous. He just laughed. Don't worry. It'll be fine. That was the last conversation we ever had. A month later, word came that he'd gone missing during a training flight. Officially, it was an accident. I knew better. After he disappeared, our entire family was placed under surveillance. My father was demoted. My mother was summoned to the Boibu every week to sign sworn statements that she had nothing to do with the traitor. Colleagues started giving me looks. Major Yoon, your brother was a traitor, wasn't he? My heart shattered, but I had to swallow it. Home. Memories of home. My mother watering flowers in the yard. Family dinners around the table. Shaping songpyeon at the holidays. Ordinary life, and you don't know it could be paradise until it's gone forever. The elderly who were separated from their families during the Korean War, they understand this pain. Now I understand it too. September 15, 2024. Clear skies. At 6 in the morning, flight orders came down. Supreme Commander Kim Jong-un will conduct an inspection near Kaesong. Escort Squadron, scramble. I thought nothing of it. Routine. I didn't know this day would change my life forever. At 900 a.m., the formation headed toward Kaesong. From 6,500 feet, autumn was arriving below. Leaves turning gold, rice ripening in the fields. A peaceful view. But I knew that somewhere beneath that landscape, people were starving. We reached Kaesong airspace. The underground facility Kim Jong-un was visiting was buried deep in the mountains. I could see the camouflaged entrance. After about an hour of patrol, fuel dropped below half. Aircraft 1, return to base. Aircraft 3, continue patrol. The flight leader's order left me alone. I descended and circled slowly. That's when it happened. Rounding the far side of the mountain, something caught my eye. A wide clearing ringed by razor wire. Gray buildings in rows. Figures moving between them. I went lower. 1,600 feet. 1,000. As I got closer, the picture became clear. People. Or could they even be called people? Skeletal frames draped in rags, digging in the dirt. A political prison camp. Waliso. I'd heard of them. Seen one never. My stomach dropped. What shook me worse were the children. 5, 6 years old. Carrying rocks. Small bodies staggering under the weight. Some fell. No one helped them up. Guards stood over them with clubs, screaming. What crime could those children possibly have committed? For those of you whose parents lived through the years right after the Korean War, you know what it's like to see starving children. That same heartbreak. Except this was 2024. Aircraft 3, report your position. The flight leader. Aircraft 3, normal patrol over Kaesong. A lie. I had just seen something I was never meant to see. Days later, something far worse happened. A helicopter mission transporting Kim Jong-un. I was in the cockpit, flying over Pyongyang, when he suddenly said, Major Yoon. You saw the Kaesong camp, didn't you? My heart stopped. I'm sorry, it was an accident. He laughed. Relax. You were bound to see it eventually. His voice was flat, empty. The ones in there, they're not human. They're garbage. Criminals against the state. Using them like that is the only way they have any value. He said it while smiling. Actually smiling. Every hair on my body stood up. This man is a monster. Do you feel sorry for traitors like that, Major Yoon? I had to lie. No, sir. They deserve every bit of it. Good. I knew I could count on you. He nodded, satisfied. Then his tone shifted. By the way, I hear your father's been acting strange lately. Your brother was a traitor. Your father doesn't share those ideas, does he? A threat. Naked and unmistakable. Absolutely not, sir. Because if another traitor comes from your family, the whole family goes to the camp. You understand? Yes, sir. The words came out steady. Inside, I was about to break. That night, I made my decision. Stay, and sooner or later my parents, all of us, we'd end up in that camp. My brother's voice echoed in my head. He'd known all along. He knew this country was hell. That's why he tried to escape. Chae-young, I'm about to do something big. That final sentence, I finally understood it. That one line planted the seed that carried me here. For those of you old enough to remember the war and the division, you know that pain. In North Korea, that pain never stopped. It only got worse. Starvation. Prison camps. That night I made my choice. Survive no matter what. The children's faces from the camp wouldn't leave me. I couldn't save them, but I could tell the world what I saw. Starting September 16th, the real preparation began. No one could know. The slightest suspicion meant the boibu. I acted normal while running through plans in my head non-stop. Flight paths, fuel calculations, South Korean radar avoidance, everything memorized. A single written note could become evidence. First, the flight schedule. When would the opportunity come? I needed a formation mission where I could break south toward the West Sea. I checked the schedule daily. Training flights, patrol flights, escort missions, waiting for the right one. Second, the route. The fastest line from Pyongyang to Incheon cuts straight across the West Sea. But North Korean radar blanketed the area. Ultra-low altitude would be the only way to fly beneath it. Under 300 feet, low enough to clip the treetops. Dangerous, but there was no alternative. Third, fuel math. Pyongyang to Incheon is roughly 125 miles in a straight line. 10 to 15 minutes at fighter speed. But evasive maneuvering would burn more. I'd need at least 50% fuel at takeoff. Anything less, and I'd go down in the sea. Fourth, timing. Dawn was too dark for a safe landing. Evening, the same. Between 1000 am and noon was optimal. Bright sunlight, clear visibility, I'd be able to spot the Incheon runway. Fifth, the South Korean control frequency. The flight manual had a list of civilian aviation frequencies. I memorized one in secret. 123.7 MHz. Could not forget that number. The hardest part of preparation was the lying. Every day smile, work, eat with colleagues like nothing was different. Major Yoon, want to grab dinner tonight? Major Kong would ask. I'd smile back. Sure, sounds good. Thinking this might be the last time we ever talk. In a few days, I'll be a traitor. Every night, my parents filled my thoughts. If a daughter becomes a traitor, the parents face investigation. My father could lose his rank. My mother could be dragged into a public criticism session. Worst case, the camp. Mother, father, I'm so sorry, but I want to live. September 18th, an unexpected summons. Major Yoon, report to the commander's office. My blood went cold. Did they find out? My legs nearly buckled, but I walked in calm. Sit down. The commander's face was grim. Major Yoon, it's about your father. He's been flagged for an ideological review. With your brother's case, he's been under constant surveillance. Apparently something new has come up. Watch yourself. The Boibu is monitoring you too. Everything crystallized in that moment. I'm out of time. Wait too long and it's over for me and for my parents. Understood, sir. I'll be careful. Steady voice. The second I stepped into the hallway, my legs gave out. I leaned against the wall and fought for air. That evening, I made one last phone call home. Hello, Mother. Chae-young. Are you doing well? Her voice was warm but frayed at the edges. Yes, I'm fine. How about you? Oh, I'm fine too. Don't worry. She wasn't fine. We both knew it. Mother. Don't push yourself too hard. Your health is what matters most. Tears welled up. I know, sweetheart. You take care too. I love you. Well, that's sudden. She laughed softly. I just wanted to say it. Her voice trembled. I love you too, my girl. I hung up and cried for a long time. September 19th, late at night. I packed only what could fit inside a flight suit. The 2 family photos went into the wallet. My mother's graduation portrait, the last family photo. That was everything. I looked in the mirror. 28 years in North Korea. Tomorrow you become someone else. Accept it, Chae-young. No turning back. I didn't sleep that night. Hundreds of mental rehearsals. Fuel enough? Route memorized? Control frequency? One mistake means death. Not a single error allowed. At 500 am, I got up and put on my flight suit. Wallet in the inner pocket. Helmet in hand. I opened the door, looked back at the room one last time. I'll never return here. Goodbye, Pyongyang. Goodbye, my past. Preparing to escape, can you imagine what that's like? Every moment, the terror of being caught. Every moment, the ache of thinking about your family. And still one step at a time pushing forward because you want to live. That was my defection. September 21st, 600 am. Emergency scramble orders. Full squadron, West Sea Patrol. Intelligence reports AU.S. Reconnaissance aircraft approaching. My pulse spiked. This is it. A formation mission and headed west. In the chaos, I could break away. If not now, maybe never. I sprinted to the hangar. My MiG-29 was prepped and waiting. I touched the fuselage. This is our last flight together. Don't let me down. I climbed the ladder, dropped into the seat, buckled in. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. 9:20 am. The formation lifted off. Aircraft 1 Colonel Ri. Aircraft 2 Major Kong. Aircraft 3 me. Triangle formation, heading west. Pyongyang shrank below. The last time I'll ever see it. West Sea airspace. An endless blue expanse. Begin patrol. All aircraft, maintain assigned altitude. Copy. I answered and started the countdown in my head. 5 minutes. Act normal for 5 more minutes. After that, there's no going back. 10:36 a.m. Now, one deep breath. Brother, I'm going down the road you tried to take. I wrenched the stick. The nose swung south. Altitude dropped fast. 10,000 feet. 6,000. 3,000. In seconds. Aircraft 3. Course deviation. Return immediately. Colonel Ree. Frantic. A senior officer I'd flown with for a year. No answer. I killed the radio. Alone now. Radar warning, a piercing shriek. Every light in the cockpit flashed crimson. Altitude falling. 1,600 feet. 1,000. 600. Ultra low. Ridgelines rushing past. Treetops scraping beneath the jet, vibrations rattling up through the stick. One twitch and I'd hit the mountain. Engine roar behind me. 2 MiG-29s diving through the clouds. Interceptors. Target acquired. Major Yoon, return immediately. Major Kong, my classmate. Final warning. 30 seconds to comply or we open fire. A friend, but orders are orders. I pushed the throttle forward. Boom, boom, boom. Anti-aircraft fire rising from the Chae-young batteries. A round grazed my left wingtip. The jet lurched. Engine temperature warning lit up. I'm hit. No stopping. Missile away. Kang's voice. White smoke trail in the mirror. Heatseeker, locked onto my engine. I slammed the flare button. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Decoys exploded behind me. Hard brake turned simultaneously. G-force crushed me sideways. Harness cutting into my shoulders. Vision tunneling. I held on. The missile chased the flare and detonated wide. The blast wave shook the entire airframe. Then Kang's voice on a private frequency. Chae-young, come back, please. You're going to die. A friend's last plea. I'm sorry, Min-soo. I can't go back. Only in my head. Another warhead. Sam warning tone screaming. No flares. Nothing left. Instinct took over. 300 feet right on top of the ridge. Branches raking the belly. The missile slammed into the mountainside and burst apart. The DMZ wire. Right there. The moment I crossed it, the interceptors peeled off. In the mirror, Kang's jet banking north, turning for home. Goodbye, Min-soo. I'm sorry. A silent farewell. South Korean sky. I switched to control frequency. This is Major Yoon Chae-young, Korean People's Army Air Force. I am requesting asylum. A pause. Then warmth. Major Yoon Chae-young, confirmed. Welcome. 2 F-15Ks glided into formation on either side. The Taeguk roundel gleaming in the sun. Incheon Airport appeared ahead. Fuel warning light solid red. Requesting clearance to land. Clearance granted. Runway is clear. Come in safe. The hydraulics were nearly gone. The stick fought me like dead weight. Every muscle straining. Thud. Wheels on concrete. 10:47 a.m. Exactly 11 minutes since Pyongyang. The engine wound down and fell silent. Canopy open. I climbed out, dropped to my knees on the runway, and raised both hands. I request asylum in the Republic of Korea. The words broke apart as they left my mouth. Tears I couldn't stop. 11 minutes. For some people, that's longer than a lifetime. In those 11 minutes, I nearly died more times than I could count. But I survived. At the end of the road my brother tried to take, I finally arrived. After several days of debriefing, I was transferred to Hanwon, the government resettlement center for North Korean defectors, located in Ansung, Gyeonggi Province. A sign at the entrance read, "We support your new beginning." That sentence blurred through tears. I wasn't Kim Jong-un's escort pilot anymore. I was just Yoon Chae-young. A person. The room was small but clean. A bed, a desk, a wardrobe. Simple and enough. I opened the window. A breeze drifted in. A breeze no one was monitoring. At night, I could lock the door and lie down without fearing a knock. No listening devices. No cameras. For the first time in my life, I slept soundly. The program ran 3 months. South Korean society, law, economics, job preparation. Classes from 900 a.m. to 500 p.m. every day. At first, I struggled to keep up. Democracy, free market economics, human rights, all of it new. The most astonishing thing was press freedom. Every newspaper had a different opinion. Some openly criticized the president. "Ma'am, is this really allowed?" I asked the instructor. She smiled. "Of course. That's democracy." One day there was a convenience store field trip. The second I walked in, it overwhelmed me. Shelves packed floor to ceiling, snacks, drinks, toiletries. Hundreds of items. My feet stopped at the cosmetics section. Lipstick, cream, lotion, neatly displayed in rows. I picked up a bottle of lotion. Rose scented. Anyone can just buy this. Tears again. An older woman beside me patted my shoulder. Chae-young, it's okay. This is ours now. At the register, the clerk smiled. Thank you. Have a nice day. Words I had never heard in North Korea. Walking out, I thought what's ordinary for some people is a miracle for others. The hardest part of Hanwon was nighttime. Lights off, lying in the dark, my parents filled every thought. One night I dreamed my mother was being dragged to a prison camp. I woke up screaming. The counselor rushed in. It's okay, Chae-young. You're safe here. She held my hand. Am I a bad daughter? No, you wanted to live. That's not wrong. 3 months later, I completed the program. With settlement funds and housing support, I rented a small studio apartment on the outskirts of Seoul. The first home in my own name. Through the window, apartment complexes. Stretching out, mountains in the distance. At night, lights blinked on one by one across the city. I'm one of them now. Living an ordinary life. That was the new dream. I found work washing dishes at a restaurant nearby. 4 hours a day, 800,000 won a month, roughly $600. More than a year's salary in North Korea. The women I worked with were kind. Chae-young, tell us if it gets too hard. They knew I was a defector and didn't treat me any differently. After work, I went to the library to study for an aircraft maintenance technician certification. I'll never fly a fighter again, but I can't let go of the sky entirely. Sometimes I'd go to a bench near Gimpo Airport and watch planes take off and land. Could I ever fly one of those to Pyongyang? If reunification comes, maybe. Not a plane carrying bombs, one carrying people. I started attending a defectors support group. An older woman approached me. I left 2 kids behind in the north. At first I thought I'd lose my mind. But you have to keep going. How do you endure it? Hope. The hope that someday I'll see them again. Those words resonated in my chest. I felt the same way. Every night, I wrote letters. Letters I could never send. Mother, the weather was beautiful today. Father, I'm doing well. Someday, when reunification comes, I'll hand them these letters. Winter came. The first snowfall. I stood at the window and watched. Cheongjin had heavy winters too. I remembered building snowmen with my mother. Snowball fights with my brother. I breathed on the cold glass, fogging it, and traced 2 words with my fingertip: thank you, brother. These days, I'm studying for the aircraft maintenance exam. A small dream, but it means the world to me. It keeps me connected to the sky. Yesterday I bought jujube tea at the convenience store. The same kind from the debriefing room. I brewed it at home and drank it warm. The taste of freedom. A warm cup of tea. A comfortable bed. A walk with no one following. All of it feels like a miracle. Do you know what freedom is? It's not being anyone's property. Choosing for yourself and answering for yourself. Sleeping peacefully at night and waking up with a smile. That's freedom. I dream of reunification. When it comes, I'll go to Pyongyang Airport as a certified aircraft maintenance technician of the Republic of Korea. To see my parents. I'll hold my mother tight and say, Mother, I lived well. Until that day, I'll keep going. Head held high. Every morning, I open the window. The free air drifts in. I hope that wind reaches my mother in the north someday. I hope it reaches anyone there who dreams of escape. The road exists. It's hard, but it's there. All it takes is 11 minutes of courage. That was the story of Yoon Chae-young, Kim Jong-un's escort pilot. Thank you for staying until the end. If you made it this far, leave a comment to let me know. Thank you.